Across America, there are forces that seek to undermine, for certain groups, the ability to vote, to undermine the rule of law, to rob women of their right to choose, to rob people of the right to love whomever they please, the right to hold elites accountable. There are those who what? Want to throw the rule of law into the trash bin. I had to say that for y'all. The fact that America is quickly becoming a majority-minority nation has led some to conclude that if this place is to remain a white nation, democracy itself must be cast aside. We see those forces mobilizing and organizing in local municipalities and across state governments, voter suppression and intimidation. These are efforts to deny people the right to vote and to affect how those votes are counted. How did we get here? And what must we do to beat back these forces that threaten to undo and overrun everything Dr. King died for? We stand at a crossroads as a nation. We have to choose who and what we will be. And that choice has always been a vexing one because so many Americans suffer, quote, a deep uncertainty as to who they really are. And when that sense of uncertainty spikes, historically, the ugly underbelly of American society reveals itself. Some will shout from the rooftops that ours must remain a white nation, and we're left to witness once again that tricky magic around race. An alchemy which transforms fears and hatreds into scapegoats and eases the pain of a nation still uncertain about what and who it is. On December 27, 1962, just a few days after Christmas and amid the growing swell of sit-ins throughout the country, Dr. King found himself at a church conference in Nashville, Tennessee, at the newly built University of Vanderbilt Law School. It's a gorgeous auditorium. And the conference centered around, quote, the ethics of integration. The ethics of integration. And Dr. King took it as his charge to defend his view of integration as something more than desegregation. He made it clear that the nation and the world could not afford the luxury of what he called an anemic democracy. And the problem of race and color prejudice, he argued, mired the United States in conflicts that left it bereft of a kind of clear moral compass. He makes a distinction that I find particularly useful for our current moment because it takes us to the heart of the malaise that engulfs the nation. And remember, this is 1962, before the March on Washington, before the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Dr. King began by acknowledging the importance of desegregation efforts. Since the 1954 Brown v. Board decision, he maintained, there had been a systematic effort to dismantle desegregation, or segregation. As he put it, quote, the bells of history are definitely toiling for segregation. I'm convinced that in less than 10 years, desegregation will be a reality throughout the South, end quote. But he argued that even if desegregation was 100% successful, the relationship between human beings in this country would remain deeply problematic. He actually used the language of monumental. Why? Desegregation was a negative formulation. Quote, it simply removed legal and social prohibitions, end quote. But integration, Dr. King argued, quote, is the positive acceptance of desegregation and the welcomed participation of, quote unquote, Negroes into the total range of human activities. Integration is genuine intergroup and interpersonal doing, end quote.